Hello, friends. Another episode of the Ernest Big Unfiltered podcast. Today's topic is going to be focused on Carson Wentz. Today, he was officially benched as the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles in place for Jalen Hurts. This year has been I guess we could say, a disaster for both Wentz and the Eagles. The Eagles right now are I believe they're 3-8-1 is their record. They were the favorites to win the NFC East. Now, granted, the NFC East is a disaster in itself. I just did an episode on this on the NFC East. Actually, if you remember last week, the first episode dropped on this Unfiltered was about the abomination of the NFC East. But you're seeing now with the East, both the Giants and the Redskins really starting to run away with the division now, pretty much. And we'll see how those two teams get down. But talking about Carson Wentz and his struggles and all that, a lot of question marks because we saw reports also in the weekend that supposedly Doug Peterson, the head coach, his job is not safe either. Supposedly, anyway. This is the rumors that are out there. Now, that doesn't mean he'll get fired, but definitely means his job is not safe either. If you believe the rumors, of course. A lot of people are saying that it's over, that the Eagles made the wrong choice. They should have kept Nick Foles, and Nick Foles should have been a starter. But let's be real here. Nick Foles has done even better without the Eagles. He's actually, went to Jacksonville, had a disastrous year last year, played, two or three games. He gets hurt, and all of a sudden he gets traded to Chicago, to the Bears, and he, after Richard Trubisky's struggles as a starting quarterback at the start of the year, Foles comes in and wasn't much better, and now the Bears are terrible right now. So I don't necessarily, believe in that. I don't actually agree that Nick Foles was the better option. I think a lot of the issues with the Eagles, in the last couple of years, because Wentz's struggles have been pretty much steadily declining ever since that injury he had in 2017, the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But a lot of it too is also, the amount of talent they have on that team. Also, I think the injury may have actually gotten into Wentz's head mentally as well too. A lot of factors. Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles that year, and he played a large part in the Eagles winning that Super Bowl. He gets hired by the Colts a year later. So a lot of things that made that Eagle team special in beating the Patriots in that Super Bowl, they no longer have. Carson Wentz is pretty much one of the only, Doug Peterson, of course, but Carson Wentz is one of the only connections to that. And Wentz is like I said, has done to a steady decline in performance in the last couple of years, and obviously it's now gotten to a point now this year. Now, it's been terrible. So here's the situation with Wentz right now. If the Eagles were to actually cut Carson Wentz, because that's a lot of the things that being talked about here, whether the Eagles should start over again another quarterback. I actually personally disagree with that. I think the Eagles should give Wentz another chance, as well as Doug Peterson, one more year. I think they do what they got to do. But if the Eagles were to cut Carson Wentz, if he wasn't on the roster for next season, that will cost the Eagles nearly $60 million on the salary cap of dead money. If they decide to cut him in 2 years, it will only cost the Eagles $24.5 million on the salary cap. Okay? So it's cheaper to keep him. Let's be clear. So my thing is this. People ask me, well, what's your opinion? Should the Eagles go in a draft, get a quarterback, or should they, lean towards Jalen Hurts moving forward? This is my opinion. I think Carson Wentz is special. I think Carson Wentz is still a good quarterback. I just think he needs a reset. Okay? I think the Eagles should retool the staff. I don't think they should fire Doug Peterson either. I think winning a Super Bowl gives you a longer leash. This is why I was kind of surprised that the stuff that came out over the week about Peterson, and that he, the chance of him getting fired. They just won a Super Bowl like not even 3 years ago. So a Super Bowl championship for a team that never won a Super Bowl, for that matter, should ideally give you some leash. But that's up to the ownership and Jeffrey Lurie and all that. So this is what I think what the Eagles are going to do, and then I think it's going to happen. I think the Eagles, regardless of how the season ends this year, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, win the division, all that, because it is terrible. The schedule gets worse. They played Green Bay this past weekend. They're playing another tough game this weekend against the Saints. I think the Eagles and Carson Wentz will bring it back, run it back one more year. I think they'll retool their office. They're not a front office. They'll retool their coaching staff and see if that helps. Maybe get some, maybe go into free agency and try to get better talent, whatever it may be. Plus, the O-line's been bad, and they've had a lot of injuries this year, too. Same issue last year, a lot of injuries. But I think the leash should be a little longer. I think Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson will have a chance to turn this around next year, and I think that's the right option. I think that's the right choice. Yeah, has Carson Wentz been bad this year? Yes. Is he a terrible quarterback? No. Can he come back and get back to top 10 status that I had him up until last year? Absolutely. And I think it will happen, but it has to be Carson Wentz to make the change. And I think Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz will have to really dig deep in this offseason and really figure out if this is it for them. So, but I think if I'm the Wentz on the Eagles, you re-up one more year, retool the coaching staff, get better talent on that team, and then go from there. So, there it is. Anyway, of course, I'm a Giant fan, so don't want that to happen. Don't want the Eagles to get better. Of course not. Come on now. Anyway, that's today's Unfiltered. Till the next one. Of course, this podcast. Find, of course, on all the podcast catchers, of course, as well as the main show, the Earn Speaking Podcast. Till then, love you guys. And, yeah, stay up.